voice, and I always feel like I need like a deep voice to do this part, like every week on Smart Life. He combs the deepest, darkest crevices for stories you will hear nowhere else. And he's back with us today for more. Joe Messina, welcome back to Smart Life. Good to have you.
Thanks, Ray. You've been gone for so long. I feel like it's been like a year you've been gone.
I know. Well, you know, a little book tour, couple things to do, and it continues. It's never ending and lots of fun. But I did definitely miss seeing you here every week because where else am I going to get my freak show news? Right?
We need this stuff to keep us alive, right? And going, hey, before you get rolling, Andrew Tamarisi, 170 days.
Yeah. Thank you for acknowledging. Yeah, I just did another story on him the other day. It's so funny. I not funny, just sad because I talked to his mom and, you know, with regularity, and there's just not that much more to say except the days keep stacking up. We keep making deals with Mexico. The president now signed a deal last week while I was on the tour. You probably heard, to say that he'll protect Mexican illegal workers in the United States, but there's no deal like that for American legal workers, or for, it just makes no sense.
I think we should all find out what kind of phone the president has, because he says he has a phone and a pen. Obviously, his battery has died, so let's all send batteries to the White House to get it in his phone and get it working, and send him some of those old-fashioned little ink pellets. Maybe that. I'm just trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying?
I think maybe the phone the phone battery that died is. Did I say that? Okay. So anyway, moving along, before I get myself in trouble, like calling him insane or something crazy like that. A Chinese city, speaking of cell phones, has created a cell phone sidewalk lane. Okay, I'm not going to lie. It happened to me as recently as yesterday. Everyone will tell you, including my co-author, Anne-Marie Morel, who's coming up next, anyone who spends any amount of time around me, I'm on my phone all the time. And people think that means I'm ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them. I'm doing things while I'm talking to you. Sometimes I'm even taking notes on what you're saying. Sometimes I'm recording you. You just never know. But I am always on my phone. And just yesterday, I'm walking along, and there's this palm tree right smack dab in front of me. And I did see it, but it was just in the nick of time. And I'm not going to lie and say that I have never walked into a post or something as I'm walking down the sidewalk.
We have to have producer Jason get pictures of you doing that, because I do about a story a week on somebody, you know, texting and walking into a fountain, texting and walking into somebody else's
I walk into fountains while I'm not texting. I definitely put my phone down before I go into the fountains with Anne-Marie, but that's a whole different story. But I do think that a walking lane for cell phone texters, not maybe altogether bad idea, except I will say this. Anne-Marie has turned me onto this idea too. Now I'm using Siri a little more. And sometimes I'll be walking along and talking a text rather than actually texting out a text.
But what about walking and looking where you're going? I mean, is this a novel idea, or is this just too old-fashioned?
Well, then what do you think about while you're walking?
We have to create lanes with arrows to tell us which way to go when we're in that lane. Now we're going to have. Did you see the lanes here? They've got a picture of a phone with a cross through it. Like, you can't use the phone in this lane. How about we just walk and take and be good to each other, instead of having a government again having to make sidewalks to tell us where to be?
Okay, I agree. We don't need to pay. We don't need to use taxpayer money. I can perfectly well walk along and do all of my texting, Joe. In fact, I could probably text all the way through this show and still do the show. It could probably happen. I literally am constantly on social media while I'm doing this, so it could happen. I'm just saying. I think people need to get better at texting. That's what needs to happen.
Well, except for us old guys, it's hard.
But first, they're going to. They're going to call us racist, probably for using our cell phones as well. But now we have a lot of things that are racism. The list is growing by the PC police. Minority obesity, lack of exercise, and American flags. Those three things are the new things on the "you might be a racist if" list, according to the PC police. Expound on that.
I guess it's our illustrious study by Rutgers University in Newark claims that minorities are obese because, do we have our drum roll or something? Racial microaggressions. Now, did they have this term when you were in school? Racial microaggressions cause them to eat fast food and avoid exercise. Racial, I'm not racist. Look at me. I go eating food. I eat at all the wrong places. I don't hate anybody.
Okay, here, I'm going to take exception with you. I do believe that the way that many communities are having a lot of negative impact, including fatherless homes, including epidemic obesity. I do believe it has to do with racism. I do believe it has to do with the left elitists in Washington, D.C., thinking they can use those people there for their votes by keeping them down, by subsidizing them. Because when you subsidize things, that means you want more of it. So if you're subsidizing food, that means you want more of it. So if it means that you're subsidizing fatherless homes, that means you want more of it. I would submit to you, Joe Messina, I do think it's racist, but I don't think it's coming from the right. I think it's coming from the left.
Oh, yeah, but I still don't look at. There are too many people that pull themselves out of situations, too many groups that'll come out of a bad situation and what have you, minority groups that have come to this country flat broke, one suitcase, $3 in their pocket, and they make it and they pull themselves out. To say that it's all about racism or to say it has to do with your color or that kind of thing, that's one of the ones that won't go in my ears.
Point taken, but of course the people that they were pointing their finger at anyway weren't conservatives, certainly. Yeah. So I'm just making the point because I think we need to be really honest here. The other thing that's been called racist now is the American flag. Could you explain that one to me?
No, actually,
No?
I cannot explain that one to you. I've been trying to wrap my head around that for days. The American flag is racist. This is okay. So we've got a fire chief, and he has decided to let 4 people put him on suspension because they would not take the stickers, and he's trying to say it was stickers now, off their lockers, and he wouldn't take them off the back of their helmets. Well, look, I agree. You can't have all these goofy stickers all over your lockers in the firehouse and on the back of your helmet. But this is the American flag. This wasn't a whole bunch of little American flags. This was one solid American flag on their locker and one on the back of their helmet. And thank God somebody with 2 brain cells to rub together decided to say, hey, Chief, take the day off. We're bringing the 4 guys back. You need to relax on this one. He thinks it's racist because he's obviously a black American. And one of the firemen put up a picture of a monkey with a cigarette in his mouth. And somehow that became also a racist picture. We've lost our minds.
Yeah.
We really have lost our minds with this.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of elitist white guys that act the same way and think the same thing. So I think the elitism just breeds this sort of thought. Blame somebody else, and it's job insurance for them, I think. Schools are banning the oh-so racist, oh-so offensive Chick-fil-A sandwiches. How can a school that is paid for with my tax dollars say that this chicken sandwich I decide to send my kid to school with, and I think Chick-fil-A sandwiches are pretty darn good too, by the way. I'd like one right now with some bacon on it. How can they decide that I can't send that to school with my child?
Again, this lunacy. You see, I do this stuff every day. You and I would do this about once a week. But you're talking about a school in Ventura County, Ventura High School, and the staff there felt that people would feel out of place or put out or what have you if they allow Chick-fil-A on campus. We're talking about 2 or 3% of the population maybe that may not like what they believe Chick-fil-A stands for. They don't really even stand for that, but what they believe it stands for. Now, here's the other part about this. The local Chick-fil-A donates $1,600 worth of food to the high school so they can resell so that the booster clubs can make some money. So we're going to stop all of that because you got about 4 or 5 kids that find Chick-fil-A offensive. I'll tell you what, why don't we bring about 15 bags of McDonald's? If you find Chick-fil-A offensive, I got McDonald's over here. I can make you fat either over here or over here. It doesn't really much matter.
Yeah, no, it's the typical bigotry because they're a conservative company, of course. A teen was asked to change out of a Virginity Rocks t-shirt. That is offensive, I'll say. Of all the t-shirts you see in the schools now, a Virginity Rocks shirt is the one that they decided to pick on.
If you've ever been on a school campus, even as a parent, I can't tell you how many times I've seen those parents looking at certain boys and girls walking by going, oh my God, they allow that on campus? This girl wanted to wear her Virginity Rocks shirt because she feels it puts out there what she believes, right? And school officials said, well, you can't wear that because it's offensive to some people, and you might be bullied. Now, if this would be the first school in the country that actually took pre-bullying a position on something that is as simple as Virginity Rocks. I can't use some of the stuff that I've seen on shirts on your show. They would shut us down in about 30 seconds. But she really believes and wants to be a virgin, and she thinks it's a really cool thing. They're worried that people are going to make fun of her. How screwed up are we that we're going to make fun of a little young lady that wants to maintain her virginity? How screwed up are we that that's a funny and bad and awkward thing?
Pretty darn screwed up, because it seems like, you know, you take stories like this, you take stories like the feminists now suggesting that binge drinking, that if you attack binge drinking, that alcohol education is somehow wrong, that's somehow anti-woman. You listen to these stories, you think they want the destruction of young people and women. Joe, we're out of time. I'm so sorry. Thanks for being with us, Joe.